Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad you're here tonight to celebrate Shabbat together. We have a lot to celebrate tonight as we have formally welcomed Starlin Lemons into the Jewish people this week. And so we're going to celebrate her and celebrate her commitments to our people. We are glad that all of you online are with us. And so we begin our service tonight with giving thanks. Giving thanks together. Hine Matov Umanayim, page 3 in your prayer book. Hine Matov Umanayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Umanayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad.
Turn to page 10 as we invite up Starlin to light our Shabbat candles. And we're so excited to have Starlin up here to celebrate your conversion yesterday and to have you with us as a new member of the Jewish people.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
L'hadlik ner, v'tzivanu
is the Kiddush. We sanctify the Sabbath. Darling, if you'll lift the Kiddush cup on high, your first Shabbat as member of the Jewish people, we sanctify together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מקומים, ושבת קודשך באהבה ורצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים. לחיים, darling. And when you're done, put the Kiddush cup down, and if you'll join Frankie and I in front of the Aron HaKodesh, and if all of you would rise as the ark is opened. Got it? Starlet, in your hands, you hold the story of our people, of now your people. In it are teachings and stories, ethics and values that the Jews have cherished for centuries, for millennia. And now that we have placed the Torah in your hand, you too have chosen to literally embrace those holy words. We pray as a congregation and a community that the words of Torah always inspire you, that you, like Jews before you, will continue to struggle with it, to make it your own. That the words of Torah will be emblazoned on your heart and in your soul. And that one day you too will continue to teach Torah to others and pass it along to future generations with your own unique insights and your own unique ideas that are woven into the tradition. For that's what all of us have to do. So as we invite you to embrace these ancient and holy words and give them life in this new contemporary time, we're going to ask you these questions and promises and pledges that you make now before standing before the Holy Ark.
Do you choose to become a Jew of your own free will, motivated by neither fear nor financial gain? Do you accept Judaism to the exclusion of all other religions, faiths, and practices, and now pledge your loyalty to Judaism and the Jewish people? Yes. Do you promise to establish a Jewish home and participate actively in the life of the synagogue and the Jewish community? Yes. Do you commit yourself to pursue Torah and faithfully consider your Jewish practice? Yes. If you are blessed with children, will you raise them as Jews in every respect? Yes.
It's our honor and privilege now, Starlin. You've chosen the Hebrew name Oren Mibeit Avraham v'Sarah, Oren from the house of Abraham and Sarah, to offer you this holy and ancient blessing inscribed in the book of Torah. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God's light shine upon you. May God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's presence be within you always, and may you find peace.
We say together, Ken Yehi Ratzon, so may it be God's will. Mazel tov. Simen tov and mazel tov, mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov, mazel tov and simen tov, simen tov. With your certificates, both of immersion from yesterday at the mikvah, and of course your conversion certificate, which records your Hebrew name. May you wear your Hebrew name proudly. We're so proud of you. Welcome, brucha haba, welcome, bruchim habaim. We're so happy that you're here, Starlin. Mazel tov. Please be seated. See, I told you we had so much to celebrate tonight. It's always, particularly because also Starlin's one of our Open Yad Council leaders and has been so involved in our Open Yad Council. We welcome the angels of peace. Peace into our lives, peace into our homes, peace into our sanctuary. As we turn to page 20 in our special prayer books for Elul, Mishkan Halev. If you're using it at home, you can buy a copy at ccarpress.org. The special prayer book Siddur of the Reform movement for the month of Elul, leading up to the High Holy Days, as we begin our introspection and our process of Teshuvah. So let us welcome those angels of peace and sing to them together. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lochem L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch. Invite them to bless you. Barchuni, Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shuvchem L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's our custom to wish one another Shalom Aleichem, Shabbat Shalom. Introduce yourself to those around you if you don't know who they are. Shabbat Shalom at home. We're so happy that so many of you are with us tonight on Facebook, on YouTube, on our temple live stream. Shabbat Shalom. turn to page 26 together. We remain standing as we call out to God, the call to worship to one another with the Baruch Hu.
We turn to page 31. You'll sit with the sages and drink their words, your soul refreshed like a tree by streams of water. Wisdom will follow you all the seasons of your life. Celebration in the sunlight, consolation in the night. Your roots will grow deep. You'll anchor yourself in courage and hope. You'll savor and cherish the true work of your hands. Your passion for life will not wither or fade. They'll treasure the lessons you leave behind. Remember what you taught in word and deed, and those who come after you will honor your path.
We sing together at the bottom of page 31 the preparation piece that will lead us straight into the Shema on the following page. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one.
Please rise.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. seated together and let us chant as is traditional, page 34, the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levandecha v'dibarta בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם מכל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם באמת.
We turn to page 41. Please join with me at the top of the page. Eternal, watch over my small domain of light and shadow, those few people who share my love and all others upon this earth, that sometimes shakes with thunder and reverberates with lightning. Help us to live with fear and conquer rage. Heal the hate that makes us kill and covers the ground within this Red Sea, that only you can part, so we may all walk through the wilderness to your realm of peace, where all men and women are one, and sing your blessed name.
We join together in Mi Chamocha, page 40. Let's join in prayer on page 42 together. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us and make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives. Be our shield. Make us stronger than the enemies we face, illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety on your wings. For you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us as we go forth to life. Watch over us, that we may come home in peace, now until the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, haborei sukkot shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed One, you spread over us your canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem. Together on page 46, let all of Israel keep Shabbat and celebrate Shabbat for all generations as an everlasting covenant. Is it a sign forever, a bond between me and Israel, that in 6 days the Eternal One made the heaven and the earth, but on the seventh day God stopped and breathed a new soul into the world. We join together as we begin the tefillah. There are 7 blessings on Shabbat in this section of our service, 18 during the week. And you ask, what's missing? Well, we even let God have a little rest because we take out all the petitionary prayers and rather just give praise and thanks, prayers of gratitude on this Sabbath day. So we rise together. We'll begin on page 48 and then invite you to continue silently on your own or including the words of your own heart. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha.
with our hearts full of prayer and of praise for the divine, for the one who creates and who heals, our thoughts turn to those in our community and in our lives who are in need of a prayer for healing. In our community this week, we think of John Altschul, Gary Ashland, Stephen Baird, Bob Balkin, Vicky Beard, Stuart Berkeley, Richard Bernard, Lisa Bird, Murray Blank, Dabby Blatt, Elaine Blatt, Louise Cantrell, Wayne Cantrell, Gail Ehrlich, Tino Felipe, Maddie Frank, Brad Greenberg, Stephen Hochstein, Tim Jordan, Heidi Kebis, Daryl Levine, Ralph Levy Jr., Peter Mackler, Larry Mendelson, Zachary Pierce, Tammy Rabowski, Keith Rand, Ben Reback, Arlene Regan, Ivan Rosenberg, Lowell Selvin, Henry Sommerfeld, Fran Solomon, Barbara Thompson, David Suriel, Stephen Valentino, Eitan Wolf, David Ben Herschel Vibasha. If there are any names, those here with us in the hall or joining us online, we invite you to write them in the chat or share those with us aloud. Our Misha prayer can be found in your insert.
Avraham, Yitzhak, v'Yaakov. Misha berach imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the ones who blessed our mothers, may the ones who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer. Strengthened by the power of your love. Mishaberach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak, v'Yaakov. Mishaberach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the ones who blessed our mothers, blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Shabbat Shalom, friends. Again, Mazel Tov, Starlin. We're so excited for you, and we're excited for the Jewish people. This week, we are living in the shifts of history. With the death of the long-serving, loyal Queen Elizabeth, may her memory be a blessing, we see how the true impact of one person can be on the story of the world. She reigned for 70 years, a kind of perfect number, if you will, an important number in Judaism, if you will. It is a lifetime for some. During her reign, she was a shaper of history, a steady hand through tumultuous times, a symbol and the monarch for the commonwealth of 56 nations, most of which, frankly, were former colonies and territories of the great British Empire. True, not all of us are English royalty with millions of subjects, or the defender of the faith, the Anglican Church, the Church of England. But Queen Elizabeth served her people loyally and her nation and the many nations of her realm with thoughtfulness and with dedication. We this week are seeing the pages of history written before our very eyes, We are witnesses to her legacy, both the good that she did and the ugly. But like Queen Elizabeth, each of us impacts the world as well. While CNN and, of course, the BBC and other news media are continuously covering the mourning of Elizabeth and the succession of her long-serving son and heir, Charles III, most of us do not get that kind of news coverage. And so we think our impact isn't as great. We think it's not as meaningful. But to those who care about us, those we love and who love us, our friends and our family, our coworkers, our legacy is no less important. Now, you might imagine I have been thinking a lot about the legacy that we leave, not only because of my impending retirement, but particularly in the light of the deaths of so many of our congregants and that our congregation has experienced in the past months. Our members like Richard Frank and Michael Simmental, Alvin Gross and Kathy Weiss, who each in their own ways contributed significantly to the life of this congregational community. Each of them, all four of them, volunteered and brought their gifts to Kol Ami. Some of you may have known them, others of you not so much. But each of these four people, at one time or another, gave of themselves to build this holy congregation. Phil and Isabel, you're here tonight, so you'll forgive me if I talk about your husband and your father for a few minutes. Talk about him with joy and love. In the early years, Michael and Phil were not only among the Friday night regulars, but Michael shaped our congregational's Oneg Shabbats. He was on many committees, as was Phil, including ushering and welcoming. He helped to set up our rented space in what was then West Hollywood Presbyterian Church, now West Hollywood United Church of Christ. He was an interior designer, a very good one, and his eye for design and art were amazing. He collected pre-Columbian art and Judaica. Unique things, special things. Michael was instrumental in the look and feel of our congregation. With his design eye, he knew exactly how things should be set up. Phil and Michael were active participants in our family programs when Isabel was just young, in our Sunday school, and in all of our social programs. Richard Frank, as you know, was among the regulars of Shabbat services. He held many positions of leadership through the years. Ritual chair, social action chair, head usher at the holidays, succeeding Alvin. As ritual chair, he worked alongside Cantor Saltzman, putting together the songbook that is still in the pews right by you. He helped organize the cantor to make it real and happen. He participated in Pormspels even though he couldn't sing a note. He took classes, and he welcomed everyone to Kol Ami on Friday nights as well. His spirit lives on too in that spirit of welcome. I hope some of you will walk in his footsteps. Alvin Gross, of blessed memory now, was also a Kol Ami fixture. Like Michael and Phil, among the founding members of this congregation. Alvin was also a Shabbat regular for these last 30 years. His smiling face was itself a warm invitation to a Shabbos greeting. Alvin had many different lives. Born in Philadelphia, he lived there, he lived in New York City, he lived in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and of course here in Los Angeles. He had many, many adventures. He even had his pilot license and flew his Cessna from island to island in the Caribbean when he lived there. While he was here, he worked for a kosher food distributor, and he had friends from all over the world. He was kind and generous, even when he didn't have a dime for himself. And he was a devoted uncle and friend. At Temple, Alvin served as the High Holy Day chair and head usher for our High Holy Days for more than 25 years, handing it over to Richard after that. Alvin always organized the annual Men of Kol Ami Christmas Eve Chinese dinner, and he volunteered for many years at Sova, the Jewish food pantry, with a group that went from Kol Ami twice a month, and always for various social action projects. He volunteered in the earliest years of our temple for our gala dinner journal and silent auction, and Alvin would go door to door throughout West Hollywood to all of the businesses to ask them to donate to Kol Ami, either to take out an ad or to donate something to the auction. If only now there was someone who'd be willing to step into his shoes, we'd be much better for it. And the fourth person who died in just recent weeks was Kathy Weiss. She died of ovarian cancer, not even 68 years old yet. A mother to Red and Daniel, wife of Ivan, her beloved of 28 years, dearest friend to Dora, sister to Jeff and Chris, aunt, beloved friend, stepsister, daughter. She was a filmmaker and a producer. It was Kathy Weiss who produced the film A Man from Hope, a documentary that introduced Bill Clinton to the Democratic Party at a national level and the world. Kathy made and produced another documentary called Wednesdays in Mississippi. It's a documentary about Black and Jewish women who came together in 1964 during the Freedom Summer to be part of the civil rights battles across class lines and race lines. She produced school specials for Disney and KCET, and she has been for almost the last decade the Western Regional Development Officer for our Reform Movement Seminary, the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion here in Los Angeles, my alma mater, and where Frankie still is studying to become a rabbi. She has been shaping the future of the Jewish people through getting the funds necessary for everything from scholarships for rabbinical students and education students to endowments for buildings like our Jerusalem campus and for professorships that shape our reform movement and the entire Jewish world. But for our synagogue, Kathy was always available for advice on how to do a better job at our fundraising and our production values. She gave fundraising asks at the High Holy Days, not a few times. And when her children were younger, she was a parent volunteer in our Sunday school, along with her husband, Ivan, who helped with strategic plans and board retreats, which is his professional specialty. She gave of her time and energy to this community, along with all the other volunteer work she did, and raise a beautiful family. We're all complex individuals with complex lives and relationships. We have successes and we have failures. We fall and we rise again. All of it is our combined legacy. But what we give of ourselves and how we do that shapes history, the history of our worlds and the world at large. Each of these four members of our congregation not only shaped their families and friends and co-workers, but whether you knew them or not, they shaped your world because they shaped Congregation Kol Ami, and you are a part of this congregation, this community. So how will you shape this community? Some of you are very active, no doubt. You come and you volunteer, you come to services, but let's be honest, many more are on the sidelines. Oh, perhaps you volunteered in an earlier year for the congregation, but not recently. But my friends, I want you to know something. We need you now more than ever to show up, to give of your time, and yes, give of your money. If you haven't yet renewed your dues, renewed your membership. What are you waiting for? You know, we've never turned anyone away from this community because of finances. If you say, well, I don't need to go, I'll just watch online. Yeah, I'm looking at you all at home. I'm only part of this as a distance. Let me remind you that even to get these services online or a class takes a tremendous amount of resources, from the equipment that we have to purchase, to the streaming fees, to the personnel required to bring it to you each week. It's not so simple. This time of year, the month of Elul, is for examining ourselves and our actions. The introspection of where we have been and where we want to go in the new year ahead is our task. It's also the time to think of your legacy. What will we leave behind of ourselves? How will we be viewed by family, by our friends, by our community? Will we step up and shape the Jewish story? One way to do that is by your commitment and connection to our congregation. The Queen is dead, long live the King. We all die, and yes, when we die, we take nothing away. And people move on to the next thing, person, or king. But the deeds that we did in this life have a lasting impact into the future. As you do your cheshbon hanefesh, the accounting of your souls and spirits that we're required to do in these next weeks leading up to the new year, take a few moments to think about your legacy, your impact, and make a pledge and a promise to consider how you will give of yourself in the coming year to Kol Ami. Will you be remembered as the four that I talked about tonight for contributing something lasting? Maybe it's just welcoming new people in the foyer. Maybe it's sustaining our values. Maybe it's for sharing a laugh at the Oneg Shabbat. Maybe it's for being a learned Jew and taking a new class, for building the Jewish people and strengthening us. This week's Torah portion has 72 of the 613 mitzvot in the Torah, a collection of laws, mitzvot, obligations that vary from the rules of war to what to do with a rebellious child. I don't urge you to take the Torah's advice in this case. To laws about employees and feeding the poor. Ki titzeh is its name, meaning literally, when you go out. It is a reference to violence and war. When you take the field, literally, when you go out to do battle against your enemies, it says, and the eternal God delivers them into your power, and you take some of them captive, etc. It tells you what to do with those that you hold prisoner. The great teacher, the Sfat Emet, interprets that this verse is not about a literal war on the field of battle, but the internal war within each human being. The Sfat Emet was the spiritual name of Rabbi Yehuda Aryeh Leib Alter, who was the Gera rabbi, born in 1847, and he died in 1905. And his greatest book of Torah interpretation was called Sfat Emet, lips of truth, truthfulness. Our teacher, Rabbi Dr. Reuben Firestone, writes this. The Sfat Emet sees the opening sentence to our Torah portion this week as a reference to the daily struggle of making it through to the end of a work week. In everything, there is a point in the divine life, but it is secret and hidden. Throughout the days of the week, we are engaged in a battle and a struggle to find that point. In other words, there is meaning to our daily, often mundane struggles, and it is our job to uncover that meaning. During the week, we do need to do battle. And then the Sabbath, Shabbat, comes only in response to our weekday struggles. The Shabbat, the Sabbath, on which it is revealed that God gave life to all. We too, in our daily struggles, daily living, have to take time, like on Shabbat, to make meaning to our work, meaning to our lives, to assess the impact of our words and our actions. Shabbat, today, is a time to reflect on who we are and who we wish to be, especially at this time of year that is coming soon to a close, and a new one, 5783, that will soon be here. May we find in our reflections the legacy that we wish to impart and the courage to make it so. May it be a legacy of goodness, kindness, and hope in your and our future. Ken Yehi Ratzon. So may it be God's will. It's my pleasure to invite Janine Schneider, a member of our Board of Trustees. Janine, if you'll come over to this podium. Janine has a few words of thanksgiving and welcome.
Actually, tonight, it's lots of words. Shabbat Shalom, I'm Janine Snyder, and it's my honor to serve the Board of Trustees. And on behalf of the Board of our sacred community, we welcome all of you at home, online, or here in the sanctuary. Lisa Edwards, we want to say thank you again for your wonderful music. As always, it's so important to raise our spirits. And we're excited tonight for the return of the Oneg. We haven't had one because of COVID and all the changes going on in our lives. We get to celebrate our community together after the services, and tonight, the Oneg is being sponsored by Richard Wortman and his husband, and they're celebrating their anniversary, their wedding anniversary, and his mother Judith's 10th Yortzeit. And we're looking forward to everyone staying and celebrating this moment of our sacred community tonight. It's our 30th year. And if you haven't renewed your membership yet, please do so this week. And I want to share a realization that I had recently in one of our board board meetings on a retreat. And we were talking about raising money as board members and how we could better serve our community by inviting others to participate. And as we were working there together on this very important responsibility, it's sort of like I heard a voice: complete the circle of life. If you have received from this sacred community, to complete that circle, you must give back, you must contribute, you must share and study with us and give who you are back to the community and to contribute financially so that we can continue. And if you have been thinking about joining us, joining our amazing congregation, now's the time, because we're going into a new chapter. And it's our time to recreate and re-envision this amazing gift that Rabbi Ager has carried for us for 30 years. As we go through the process of sad closure as she leaves, we want to participate in a recreation process. Members can also renew your membership online, and better yet, automatically renew your membership at Kol Ami. And as you do so, think about what you can give to this community as your legacy. The High Holy Days are only 3 weeks away. Rosh Hashanah begins Sunday night, September 25th, and all our services will be held here at Kol Ami this year because we want to re-empower and reinvigorate our sanctuaries. The information about High Holy Days has already gone out, both mail and email, and you must register and let us know which services you will attend in person. There's a limited seating, as you can tell, so You have to sign now for your tickets. Yisker book entries must be in the next week, and buy a prayer book if you need to. Again, members, if you have paid your first quarter dues, you will automatically receive your tickets electronically. Services will also be available by special Zoom link, but all members must sign for those times that they're going to attend. Online, there's a little button. Hit it and say, I will be there online, and register. Join Rabbi Levy at 9:30 the next 2 Wednesdays for live streaming on all platforms to prepare spiritually for the High Holy Days during this month of Elul. Drop in on our book club tomorrow, Saturday, September 10th at 4 p.m. This month, we are reading the story of Kurdish Jews in My Father's Paradise, the true story of a Kurdish Jewish family. It has won the National Book Critics Circle Award, and this will be online. Come for the conversation. Mark your calendars for Slichot. This on September 17th, this special evening truly kicks off our High Holy Day observances. This year we will begin with a picnic dinner at 6:30 p.m. and then a special performance by the Braid Theater Company of the play Refused No More. This play is about true personal stories of the Soviet Jew, the life left behind, and the surprising, poignant, moving American journey being forged, including one by our own temple member, Lilia Lukowski. And then the moving Slichot service outside will be on the roof deck. Don't miss this one. It's a new beginning. Lunch and learn will take place on Thursday, the 15th of September, online with Rabbi Ager at noon. Don't miss this chance to study with our rabbi. As always, we hope you'll keep up to date on all that's going on, and as you can tell, there's a great deal in our sacred community that's happening. Always go to the website, kol-ami.org, and you must register to participate in all our activities. Thank you for coming. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Page 78, we invite you to rise for the Aleinu L'Shabeach prayer. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol L'Tei Gedula L'Yotzer Bereshit Shelo Asanu Kikoyei Aratzot V'lo Samanu Kamishpachot HaAdama Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem V'gor Aleinu K'chol Amonam V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tonight we're observing the Yortzites of Sydney Wilson, friend of Mason Summers, Elliot Frank, father of Marty Frank, Ethel Wasserstein, grandmother of Jonathan Goldstein, Judith Wortman, mother of Richard Wortman, Shirley Aronson, aunt of Sharon Siegel, and Tonya Gibsman, mother of Jacob Gibsman, whose Yortzite plaques are lit in loving remembrance tonight. We're also recalling Andrei Koshman, grandfather of Vitaly Koshman, and Victor Koshman, father of Vitaly Koshman. Sarah Shapiro, great aunt of Neil Zaslavsky. Arthur Kruskal, father of David Kruskal. Betty Schlesinger, mother of Iris Schlesinger. Gilbert Weinbather, father of Gib Weinbar. Terrell Shanbrom, father of Karen Shanbrom. Meyer Galler, friend of Lauren Ostro. Sandra Karsh, grandmother-in-law of Lisa Fried. Gilles de Turenne, father of Avi de Turenne. Judy Edelson, aunt of Jeffrey Wortman. Lori Glickman, mother of David Glickman. Lawrence Breckerman, brother of David Beckerman. Phyllis Joy Friedel, aunt of Mark Friedman. And Rose J., grandmother of Adam Schulman. And we're reciting Cottage in Our Congregation for Marvin Edelman, Paul Morgan Fredericks, Paula Tabor, Ann Pendo, Linda Bach-Leon, Muriel Stein, Ruben Ibarra, Marianne Waxner, Claudia Morton, Ron Stoner, Alyssa Bentley, Sandy Saltzman, Jay Solrich, Shirley Rosenberg, Nadine Holt, Christopher Hughes, Yusuf Lucido, Evelyn Ruth Rich, Keith Cantrell, Rob Schlesinger, Leona Bander, Marlene Bram, Herb Jacobson, Richard Frank, Lou Vincenelli, Dave Hall, Howard Romanoff, Greg Sunken, Ruth Forster Williams, Reba Goldman, Michael Simmental, Victor Escobar, Alvin Gross, Ernie Benson, Kathy Weiss, Ellen Metzner, Janice Houghton-Levi, Anton Molly, friend of Patty Linsky, who died in this week now ended, Josh Kaplan, friend of Stephen Weiss and son of Steve and Debbie Kaplan, who died in this week now ended. Don Hollis, dear friend of Frank Ellison, who died in this week now ended. We're also tonight, of course, it is the 50th anniversary of those that were murdered during the Olympics in Munich, the Israeli team members. So we call their name aloud: David Berger, Max Weinberg, Joseph Romano, Yusuf Gutfreund, Zev Friedman, Eliezer Haufman, Amitzur Shapiro, Gahat Shtor, Mark Slavin, Andre Spitzer, and Yaakov Springer, and of course Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor. Are there others that you would like to include in memoriam for tonight's cottage player? If you would say their name aloud, as well as in the chat, if you would write their name as well on Facebook and YouTube. The memories of all of our loved ones are surely with us at this season and at this time. Together, let us recite the words of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 86 in your prayer book. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yamad divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yamechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam olamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Damiran v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol Yishvei Tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace and comfort to all who mourn and all who are bereaved among us. And together let us say, Amen.
Amen. And we stay standing now as we are in the month of Elul. We are going to hear the sounding of the shofar. And so, Rabbi Eger will... Oh.
It's okay.
Yes,
We'll do it out.
We're doing shofar, and then we're going to sing a song.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yes, my fault. Okay. So, Baruch Adonai Shomea Trua. Tekiah. Shvarim Trua. Tekiah Gedolah.
Please be seated. Let's join together, turning to page 92 as we close our service with Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Give me 1 second here. chesed yibaneh. Ya la 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 la. Olam chesed yibaneh. La 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 ya la 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 la. Olam chesed yibaneh. Ya la 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 la. Olam chesed yibaneh. Ya la 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 la. I will build this world from love. Ya la 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 la. And you must build this world from love. Ya la 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 la. And if you build this world from love, ya la 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 la, then God will build this world from love. Ya la 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 la. Let me hear you sing pretty. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la.
In our Torah portion of Ki Tzad this week, we read all kinds of commandments, including ethical ones, commandments on how to treat each other, how to build a caring, supportive community. This Shabbat, we have prayed as a community for a day of peace, of rest. We have stood and heard the call of the shofar, reminding us that our Yanim Noraim, our high holy days, continue to draw nearer. May we as a community take this time we have prayed for to reflect, to look inward and truly contemplate both the ways in which we have successfully showed up for others this year, as well as the times in which we could have done more. God, may you help us take into our hearts the message of this week's Parsha, that we are all commanded to care for one another. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev imcha Yisrael, v'metziva al imcha Yisrael la'ahov kulam. Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel, and who commands your people Israel to love one another.
Amen. With the return of the oneg, we're going to institute making the motzi here in the sanctuary so that when you go outside, you can just enjoy and schmooze. And again, we thank Richard and David for this honor. Mazel tov to Starlin again on her conversion. And Shai, welcome. Mazel tov to you on your daughter's conversion this week. It was wonderful to be with you and your family. Welcome to our congregation. We're so happy for your family as well. Mazel tov. We join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos, everybody. Thank you for being with us. Shabbat shalom at home. We're so glad you were here. We look forward to seeing you next Shabbat and through many activities all weekend and week long. Shabbat shalom.